This is Paul McGuire, and I want to talk to you about the most important prophetic event ever to happen in human history, which could very possibly happen in your lifetime, in my lifetime. The current course of events between Israel, Iran, Russia, and the United States are heading us towards a possible regional thermonuclear war, or in a worst case scenario, a global thermonuclear war. Now, in my intensive teaching called The Return of Israel's Messiah, I talk about in detail geopolitical events, current events, military buildup, and global circumstances that are pushing us towards this time frame that was talked about by the prophet Daniel in the 70 weeks of Daniel and numerous other prophecies. I go into detail about how God promised that Israel's Messiah would deliver them in the last days, and we are moving with lightning speed towards that, what I call a cosmic event. What is causing this cosmic event to arrive is not only the 100% prophetic scriptures that are accurate by both the Old Testament prophets and the apostles and Jesus Christ himself, but also the convergence of economic forces in nature like hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanoes, the massive military buildup from nations like China and India and Russia, the fact that in the Strait of Hormuz, as we speak, there is a massive armada of ships, many of them with nuclear missiles, and this represents an armada from 25 different nations, including Russia, China, the United States. The intended goal is to have a blockade of Iranian oil, or to free up Iranian oil so that Europe and other nations can continue to get their oil supply from the Strait of Hormuz, in the case that Iran attempts to retaliate by blocking the exports of oil, and other scenarios if Israel, which they may well have to do, has to strike Iran to destroy their nuclear production facilities. Because right now, Iran has accelerated their nuclear production facilities and will be capable of delivering a nuclear weapon into Israel in the relatively near future. And that represents an existential threat to the right of Israel's existence. So what we're seeing is Bible prophecy unfolding right before our very eyes. And I delve into detail about all of this in my MP3 download series, The Return of Israel's Messiah. We have, for example, Ezekiel 38, the possibility of Ezekiel 38 being played out before us. And that entails a Russian invasion of Israel, along with Iran and an alliance of Middle Eastern nations. That may be delayed. There may be wars before that. And I want to talk to you about the most important prophetic event ever to happen in human history, which could very possibly happen in your lifetime, in my lifetime. The current course of events between Israel, Iran, Russia, and the United States are heading us towards a possible regional thermonuclear war. worst case scenario, a global thermonuclear war. Now, in my intensive teaching called The Return of Israel's Messiah,